Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today on National Voter Registration Day. We're so excited to have you. And we have a wonderful group of panelists that are here to partner with us and tell us about the amazing events that they have planned for today. Today is National Voter Registration Day, as you know, and it is a very exciting celebration of democracy. So for the folks who need to register to vote or to update their voter registration, today is the day. So we're so excited to see all of the social media and the activations and the voter registration drives that are out happening right now. So keep up the great work, and these partners are going to tell you about their organizations and what they have planned, as well as give you some motivation and excitement to keep you going into the GOTV season. So without further ado, my name is Chyann. I'm the campaign director for the holiday, and I'm so excited to have you all here. I'm going to briefly introduce my panelists. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for just one moment and start by introducing Eddie Cuesta, who is from Dominicanos USA. We have Juan Rosa, who is with NALEO. We have Basilia Angel, who's with Grita, Canta, Vota. We have Liliana Rañón, who's with the National Association for Broadcasters. And last but certainly not least, we have Giselle Haka, sorry, with Poder Latinx. So thank you guys so much for being here. And let's get right into it. We have so much to cover. I want to start with Giselle. Please tell us about Poder Latinx and what you guys have planned for National Voter Registration Day. And we're going to go around and hear from the other panelists as well. So we'll start with Giselle.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Hello, everyone. My name is Giselle Gasca. I'm a regional manager with Poder Latinx. We're a civic and social justice organization, and our mission is to build a sustainable block of Latino voters across the states where we're in. We're currently in Arizona, Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, Washington State, California, and Texas. So we're very excited about all the work that's happening on the ground today. Our teams have a lot of work today. We started at the high schools conducting voter registration. Some of the states that we're in, they actually have pre-registration. So we're very excited to also be part of those efforts. But we've also conducting voter registration drives at the community colleges and universities across all of these states. And we're going to be finishing off the day with some phone banks with some of our media partners, where we will be talking and taking calls from eligible voters on how to register to vote, guide them through the process online, and answering any questions that they might have about the upcoming election. So we're very excited. We're looking forward to hopefully breaking records. We always like to keep up on the number of folks that we've registered throughout the years. So we're excited to kind of get a final count after the day is over. But yeah, thank you for having us.
Thank you so much, Giselle. And Eddie, let's hear from you in Dominicanos USA.
This is great. Well, good afternoon. I'm so happy to be here with just his team panelists. My name is Eddie Cuesta. I am the director of Dominicanos USA DUSA. Our mission is to empower the Dominican American through civic, social, and economic integration. Our work in the last 10 years, I've yielded over 190,000 voters. Chyann, it's a pleasure to see you as we started out 10 years ago. It's not for us, a celebration of National Voter Registration Day as we celebrating today. Every day we feel that it's a national voter registration. So I appreciate the efforts, and that you have put into really, having this panel on the Latino voting, power that we have, in coming out to vote. We started the day this morning at a program for seniors, Seniors Aiming High. It's a health program at Columbia University and New York Presbyterian Hospital. Over 150 seniors were there. We were so happy to provide information, not only on voting, but making sure, the information on early voting, providing information on requesting of ballot. And it was so amazing because they were exercising, and they were really, so, impressed, that we were there. We had a table, and we were really checking up with the voter lookup. And, that was the start of the day. This afternoon, We are participating with other partners in many of the instances, including NALEO and New York NYC Campaign Finance Board, NYC Votes at Fordham Plaza in the Bronx. So up in Washington Heights, we started in the morning and we're finishing up this afternoon in the Bronx. The same as Giselle was saying, we work with a lot of the schools, and basically those schools that we have working pre-voter registration, team registration. Some of the schools that we work with today, they're mobilizing the students to register to vote. So it's a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Eddie. I will hand it to Juan from NALEO.
Hello, thank you so much, Chyann, and thanks for my co-panelists. A pleasure to be here with you. I know the work that all of you do to empower our communities, no matter where we are, from the Central Valley to Washington Heights, passing through the DMV and elsewhere. So it's a pleasure to be here. So NALEO Educational Fund has the dual privilege of being on the steering committee of NVRD. So we work closely with nonprofit Vote and other organizations and individuals, including secretaries of state, to put together this annual event. It is one of our most, and one of the things that we appreciate the most out of our year is getting to do NVRD. A day like today, our organization is out and about. So we're doing a lot of media engagement. So our days that are early with the early morning shows on both Telemundo and Univision, just talking about the importance of voting and registering to vote, just demonstrating that it's not as simple as it sounds to register, right? And that people have to register a lot if they move, if they change their name. So that's how we started our day with doing media interviews early morning. We are also engaging media through a press conference that we're holding in Orlando with our CEO, Arturo Vargas, and our State Director of Civic Engagement, Jackie Colon, with election administrators from local counties in Florida, informing the community about what they need to know to register to vote and vote successfully in a couple of weeks. Our teams are also doing visibility events. So like Eddie mentioned, they're out and about in local communities, giving out information, giving out swag, just to incentivize and build excitement in our community about registering and about voting. And lastly, but I think most importantly, we're operating an expanded hotline today. So NALEO Educational Funds has a hotline where we answer questions about civic engagement activities such as elections and the naturalization process. It's usually open 5 days a week, but today is an expanded amount of time. Our staff got in the office at around 5:30 a.m. California time, and they're fielding questions from all over the country with people asking how to register and where to go to register. So those are sort of the three key buckets that we're doing today. We're doing visibility, media engagement, and the expansion of our information assistance hotline, which is 1-888-VOTA or 1-888-839-8682. Pleasure to be here with all of you and looking forward to the rest of the conversation.
Thanks so much, Juan. And Basilia, tell us about Grita, Canta, Vota.
Yeah, so thank you first for having me. Really excited to be here, really excited about today. So Grita, Canta, Vota is a new campaign. It is a national nonpartisan campaign that is activating artists to use their voice to really empower their fans and Latinos across the nation to register to vote. So we've actually engaged over 40 artists, and we have 40 artist videos where they are using their voice and messaging. So we are sharing those videos out on our social media, and we also have our own song. So we have, if you go on Spotify and look up Grita, Canta, Vota, you can listen to our song, and on YouTube, see our music video. And these are things that we're using to activate Latinos and really use our culture, which is, music and food and festivals to provide that education. And so we are nationwide, and we have been across the nation right now, focused around 10 states where we are setting up at festivals. So just this past weekend, we were at 3 festivals. We were in Tennessee, in Raleigh, and we were also in Phoenix, registering people to vote at Fiestas Patrias and Fiestas in general. And today, National Voter Registration Day, we also launched a student initiative where student clubs across the nation could sign up and register to win a $1,000 grant for throwing parties at their school where they're using our music video and the song, as well as our portal on our website where they can register students to vote, as well as making sure that they're checking their voter registration, that they're all ready to vote, and or getting pledges, making sure that people have a plan to go out and vote on election day. And so shout out to Stephen Austin State University, who is having a voter registration party tonight and showcasing our music video.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much. And last but certainly not least, we have Liliana Ragnon, who is with the National Association of Broadcasters. And this is one of her big dreams in life. So I'm so happy to see it coming to fruition. So Liliana, tell us what you guys have planned for today.
Thank you so much, Chyann, for that very kind introduction, and also for inviting NAB to be a part of today's conversation, but more than anything, the ongoing campaign. So my name is Liliana Ragnon. I'm the Vice President of External Affairs at the National Association of Broadcasters, and NAB represents the interests of the local radio and television stations across the country. And so when you turn on your radio and you listen to your local either traffic report, weather report, or your favorite DJ, we represent those radio stations. Same thing with the television. When you turn on the television without a streaming service or cable, and you get your local news and you're getting the updates on, traffic or weather or what's going on in your community, those are the local radio and television stations we represent. And in terms of my role here today, we recently launched a coalition of Hispanic media companies that have committed and dedicated their airwaves to educating Latino voters around the upcoming elections, including registering to vote. And secondly, having a plan for how they're going to get to the polls on election day. This campaign led us to a new initiative that we launched about 2 weeks ago called Martes de Acción, or Tuesdays of Action, where every week we focus on a specific topic throughout the voter education, voter information, season of information that we continue to get. This is our way of being able to focus on a specific aspect of this entire election season. And today we planned it so that we can coincide with National Voter Registration Day, knowing that before we can get out and turn out for election day or submit our early ballots via mail or however people are voting early, we need to register. And so part of the work that we're doing with this campaign and initiative is to provide resources to our broadcasters that have joined us on these efforts. And one of the ways that we do that is by partnering with you all, the community leaders, the community experts, with your resources, information, expertise for interviews, and even social media content. So today, on behalf of NAB, we've been utilizing our social media channels, not only to uplift the messages that NVRD has put together, but to uplift the messages of all of our community partners and leaders that have joined us on our efforts, including our media partners that have also worked with you all and continue to work with you all day in and day out to ensure that we're reaching our communities where they are with the messages that matter to them in a way that they could easily capture the information and either do something with the information themselves, like register to vote, or share it with their comadres, their neighbors, their friends, their family. And so being that we have media outlets that have different types of platforms, we are empowering our media partners to ensure they have everything they need and connect with you all so that you can continue to get your messages out. So we're so excited about today and about the work that's happening across the country with our broadcasters, with all the community partners, and we will continue to have conversations, social media posts, events, and support community activities that are taking place across the country all the way through election day. So thank you, Chyann, again. I really appreciate this opportunity.
Absolutely. And we're so happy to have you here. You spoke on something very important. You said, not only are we bringing together this esteemed panel of trusted voices in the Latino community, probably like the biggest voices in the Latino community, you guys are the messengers, right? And we know that National Voter Registration Day is a big celebration of democracy, but especially in federal election years, because we know that most people only vote every 4 years. So this is when they do turn out. So as you guys have all stated, this is a very important year and this work is very important. But with an estimated of 36.2 Hispanics that are eligible to vote for this year coming up, which is up from 2020, which was 32.3 million. What impact do Latino voters have on this election year? And I want to ask that question to NALEO, to Juan.
Chyann, and again, so excited to hear what everyone is doing today, from the concerts to the media engagement through the NAV. So thanks for all the work that's being done. So we are about 36 million Latinos who are up to 36 million Latino who could be eligible to vote this election cycle. So they are 18 or older, or they will be 18 by election day, and they're American citizens. Out of those, NALEO projects that 17.5 of those will be voting this year. It is a floor, right? So they can only go up. So that's the minimum of all Latinos that we estimate that will vote this year. While yes, it could sound a bit depressing that out of a universe of 32 to 36 million, only 17 will vote. That is a 6.5% increase from 2020. And get this, my favorite number, it is a 38% increase since 2016. 38% increase since the 2016 elections. So our community is voting in ever larger and larger numbers every election cycle. We won't, I know the people here, neither Vasilia, Giselle, Liliana, or Eddie, or Chyann, we're going to rest until we have that as close to 100% as possible. And that's why we're doing this work. But it is something for us to celebrate that since 2016, there's been a 38% growth in the actual number of Latinos that go out to vote, and that we're expecting that this year, there will be at least a 6.5% increase. That's a general number, right? When we go down and we look at, for example, what is the electoral map as we look for the presidential election and also the congressional elections, we see that Latinos are in growing numbers in states and districts that will determine not only the White House, but also the control of both or either houses of Congress. So for example, if you look at a state like Pennsylvania, which has a senatorial race, the Latino vote in Pennsylvania is a significant election block. If you look at Arizona, where we also have an election for Senate, that's another state where the Latino vote can be the determining factor. Same with the Nevada Senate race. Then you look at places like California, where there are several House races. I believe even where Giselle is located, several House races that could be determined by how Latinos vote. And those states that I mentioned earlier are some of the 7 states that are up for grabs in this election year for the White House. So you look at the Latino community of North Carolina, it is a state that is now in play. It is a toss-up, and the Latino vote either in Raleigh, where Basilia was earlier this weekend, or in Charlotte and in Durham and Winston-Salem, the Latino community there keeps growing. The Latino electorate keeps growing. So in the actual outcomes, Latino can be quite the determining factor in this election. And in general, we believe in NALEO Educational Fund, and I know that we believe at all organizations that American democracy is healthier, is stronger when its Latino electorate and its Latino population participates actively.
Well said, well said. And you touched on something in particular, Juan, that I wanted to go back to. You said that the Latinos have a huge part of this electorate in swaying the vote, but there's also this need for down ballot education, right? Because this year there's 80,000 positions on the ballot and only 500 of those are federal. So that is a really big educational opportunity for us when we're out speaking to Latino communities. It's not just about who you're voting for president. There's a whole bunch locally across the states that Juan mentioned that you should be educated about and informed about and voting for. So thank you for touching on that. And I want to throw this next question question to Dominicanos and Grita, Canta, Vota, and Poder Latinx. Our local organizations are out today. They're hitting the ground with voter drives and events, some of what you've described that your organizations are doing. As they're out speaking to voters, what advice would you give them for avoiding like contentious conversations, since many people are very candidate oriented when they turn out to vote in federal election years? And how do they stick to nonpartisan votes while still appealing to Latino voters? So I'll start with Eddie from Dominicanos USA.
Sure. Well, it's so interesting the question because, today, as we were providing information on the vote, informing the voters, the importance of making a plan to go out and vote and informing them about early voting, which starts here in New York on October 26th. Many of the seniors were saying they were a little bit concerned because they didn't know if they would go to an early voting poll site, their vote would be secure, as well as some contentions in terms of, what, kind of a little scarediness, and so we were providing information that yes, in every poll site there is a policeman, there are a lot of community-based organizations that are will be out in the community on election day, but it's so important for them to really, have a plan to come out and vote.
Totally agree. GOTV is up next. So what is the plan? Let's start thinking about it now. And let me throw the question to Giselle.
Thank you for the question, Cheyenne. I think, given that today we're celebrating National Voter Registration Day and that we pride ourselves on being a democracy, I think it's part of our job to acknowledge that every eligible voter should have the option to exercise their right to be heard at the ballot box. And I think National Voter Registration Day really gives us that opportunity to get started by registering to vote. It's important to keep in mind why are we doing this and for who we're doing this, to make sure that we do have our community's interest when we're voting and encouraging folks to show up to the polls, because we know that elections come with consequences. And that is something that we have to remind our community. I think this is a perfect opportunity to get folks involved, get them registered. And as you mentioned, this is just the beginning and the start, because we do have an opportunity for folks to start voting early, coming right around the corner, getting out to vote in all of the different states. And we just have to remember that when we put our community at the forefront, at the ballot box, that is the most powerful thing we can do to make sure that we get the representation that we need, and that as many people as we can, as my friend here, Juan from NALEO mentioned, the Latino vote will be crucial in this election, and the more people that get an opportunity to exercise their right to vote, the more representation we will have.
Absolutely. Elections have consequences. Love that. And lastly, Basilia, but not least.
Yeah, so we've heard quite a bit while engaging people in festivals, and one of the things that we have and will continue to do is really to use their voice, like regardless of how they feel, regardless of political affiliation. It's like, okay, well, if you feel strongly about whatever your opinion is, then we really encourage you to use that energy and really participate to be part of the process. But we encourage education and taking into consideration what that vote and using their voice really means. We like to say, pónganse las pilas, and in our culture. And so that's something that we're using to connect with community and really say, what's really important is to educate ourselves and then go out and vote. And so one of the things that we're doing is we're launching a series called Vota Palooza, and we're going to be at 5 different states. And part of that, the big key component of that is voter education. So people will come to the festival because it's going to be fun. There's going to be big name artists at these festivals, but the key component there is education, making sure they're walking away with voter guides and a plan to really go out and vote. And so we consistently remind people that if you want a better future for your family, for our community, then voting is the path to be able to get that done.
Absolutely. Thank you, Basilia. And you're absolutely right. It's about so much more than just registration. It's education, it's GOTV. So I want to ask this question to Liliana, who's like the media mogul here. What role does media play in reaching Latino voters and providing engaging messaging?
It's a really great question, and I will add that Spanish language media plays a big role in ensuring that our communities have the information they need from trusted messengers that are on air, reporting day in and day out of the happenings around their local communities. And so with that role, we take very seriously, and we work to ensure that we work with additional trusted messengers from our community that could help us bring the message even deeper into our communities, because, you know, as some of us do listen to radio for weather alerts, sports, traffic, the local news, for music, for concerts, you name it, others use TV for that. But I know that there are other channels in which we're also continuing to access information and news. And some of the news that we're consuming isn't as factual or as truthful as what we're receiving through broadcasters. And so our role as broadcasters is taken very seriously, where we pride ourselves on being live, local, and trusted. And so it's so important for us to continue to partner with additional trusted voices from the communities that we're working in. And because of that, it's important that we continue to also educate our communities. The other piece that I wanted to add to the previous question, Chyann, about what to do to stay away from politics is that we too are a nonpartisan campaign, and we're running this initiative on a nonpartisan basis. However, one of the things that we do focus on here at NAB is advocacy to support our broadcasters. And so for those individuals that are energized, that have something to say, they should continue to engage in the democratic process, not just through registering to vote and turning out, but connecting with their elected officials and having those healthy debates so that each could understand the perspective and be able to come to a consensus. Because the last thing we need is continue to have folks on different sides of the spectrum not agreeing on the issues, instead of working together so that our democracy can come full circle and we can all be active participants in this process. And so we're taking, you know, the first step in making sure that our audiences, the public, Americans have what they need to know how to register. And then from there, continue to educate them as to what the process is so they can turn out and vote. But throughout the rest of the year and every single day after elections, including, you know, midterms elections, it's our job to ensure that we continue to have this information on air, that we continue to enhance our partnerships, and that the American public continues to engage, because it's one thing to only turn out for one election and, you know, think you did your part. And it's important to do our part, but we should continue to do our part throughout the year and in every single election, because all elections are consequential. There's so much at stake. It seems like in every single election, there are so many issues that change depending on who's in Congress, who's in charge of the White House, or what's happening around us. And so in order to be an informed electorate, we need to continue to stay, you know, tuned in to our partners, our media outlets, and to our key leaders that are taking the time to ensure that we're not proliferating mis and disinformation. I know that NALEO and so many other groups have campaigns that are focused on giving tools and tips and resources so that we can put out that factual information.
Absolutely.
So thank you, Chyann. I appreciate the opportunity to add to the other question as well.
Oh, no, that was super valued. And you're absolutely right. This is work that is cyclical. We're in unprecedented years every single year, so it never stops. Well said. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. I do want to give you 30 seconds if you were giving a pitch to someone who is out in the field registering voters, and you just had to give like a moment of motivation. You guys are also motivating, so this will be easy. But like, what would you say in 30 seconds to captivate a Latino voter? I know that's a really hard challenge, but you can say it in Spanish, you can say it in English, whatever you think might work, but I will throw it to you guys because I think this will be really helpful for partners to hear. So I'm going to start with Eddie.
Sure. We have a saying is, tu voto es tu voz es poder. So it's so important to really bring out the message. And as we've been saying, you know, the media is so important, the Latino media, So we need to, pressure those with the funds, to invest in ethnic media, to make sure that our community is able to really, be heard and have a voice at the polls, and make a plan to go out and vote.
That's right. Make a plan. Liliana.
I would just say that trust local leaders and local broadcasters that give you the information you need, but continue to do your research and continue to talk to more people, because we all have different perspectives. And a lot of times we only get a small synopsis of what the issue is or what the information is. And so educate yourself, take action, and turn out on election day.
Love it. Giselle.
I love this question. I do want to just remind everyone that everyone can and should get engaged. If they are eligible to vote, well, register. Today's the perfect opportunity, but if they can't, remind your friends and family to show up to the polls. Some piece of advice we recently got from Dolores Huerta was, this is the only time that is acceptable to reach out to your ex and remind them to show up to the polls. So do what you got to do. Make sure you reach out to community and make sure that we're keeping our Si Se Puede attitude y dale gas, as our very own Ben Monterroso would say.
Love it. And Basilia.
I love that, Giselle. You made me laugh. But no, honestly, I would say is, it's a privilege to vote, es un privilegio. And so if you can vote, use your voice and think about those who cannot vote. And so it is a powerful tool that we have that can really shape our future. So if you have the privilege to vote, please vote, and then tell all your friends and family to go out and register to vote today, and then go out and vote on election day.
That's right. It's a community effort. And Juan, take us home.
So I would say it's our democracy. It's our responsibility. It is a gift that we ourselves, all of us together, the over 300 million Americans, take care of collectively. The easiest way to do it is to vote. There are other ways, but the easiest way to do it is to vote for our elections. So it's our democracy, our responsibility, and our vote is the easiest way to do it.
Oh, I froze at the end there. Sorry about that. Thank you so much, Juan, for concluding that. Sorry for the dramatic pause, but you said it best. Latinos are all about taking care of one another, and voting is just an extension of that, right? So I hope you guys took from this conversation as much as I did. It was a pleasure to have you all here. Thank you to our panelists for taking time out of this very busy day to join us. We're happy to answer any questions that you guys have going forward as we get into GOTV season, so feel free to reach out to us, and this recording will be shared so you have the access to the resources. Once again, panelists, thank you so much for your time. This was very inspirational, and here we go to GOTV. Appreciate you all. Thank you for being here. Bye.